What's good, combat sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It with your host, Bando. We are back to review UFC 314, a fantastic card, and we got VOLK back on top. Let's get into it. Let's review it. Let's talk about it. Let's smoke. So like I said, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. We are back to review UFC 314. What a card. Fantastic card. Honestly, top to bottom. Had a lot of fun fights. Had a lot of good finishes. So the fight overall, I had to rank it at about an A. It really was that good. B, anywhere from a B to an A, it really was that solid of a card. Not many bore fests, not many snooze fests. Almost every fight performed and showed out in some way, some shape or form. Predictions wise, we ain't too good. We did not do too good. Let's see. Early prelims, we went over. Into the prelims, I think the only prelim I got was Dan Ige. And that was a short stoppage. That was a quick stoppage. So we might as well just start the episode right there. That was a terrible stoppage. And I am team Dan Ige all the way. I wanted to see Dan Ige win. And I think he probably would have ended up getting the win anyways. I think he was up on the scorecards. I think he had it at least 2-1, was landing the better shots against Sean Woodson, was being a little bit more active than Sean Woodson, and he kept Sean Woodson on the back foot majority of the fight. But the finish was not. I mean, was he taking some damage? Yeah, for sure. But when this guy's at 145 pounds, you could let that shit go. A lot of the times these guys recover no problem, right? And you know, you get one stoppage beforehand that was way too late, and then you get this stoppage after super early. I mean, the Darren Elkins stoppage was like, whoa. Mike Beltran, what was you doing, man? Mike Beltran's a fantastic referee, so I cannot dog him. He usually don't make too many mistakes. He's usually right on when it comes to the finish and everything like that. But that one was so yeah, Mike Beltran had the late stoppage. This other guy had the early stoppage. You know, the late stoppage with Darren Elkins, that was just a rough one. Julian Erosa caught him with some nasty shots. Went for the finish. He was clearly finished. And we know that Darren Elkins is a guy that's known for coming back. You know what I'm saying? Known for taking the damage, coming back, all that kind of stuff. You got to call it when a guy like that is out. He was out. He was out. Not only was he out, it just did not look good even after he ended up getting up. He looked bad. So he was fucking rocked after the kick. He was rocked on his feet for at least 30 seconds right before the actual onslaught finish happened. Like, man, Darren Elkins has taken a lot of damage in his life, a lot of damage in his career. The man need to hang it up, because you just don't want to continue to take that much damage. Even if your nickname is the damage, it's not worth it. Not worth it. I initially had Jim Miller, that plus 600 underdog. I took it. I thought it was going to be something. Jim had a couple good moments, but Chase Hooper, overall, performed fantastic. Did exactly what he needed to do in every aspect of that fight. So, good job to Chase Hooper. And like I said, you got the Ige and Sean Woodson. Short stoppage, early stoppage, but Dan Ige was winning that fight anyways. And then you move into the main card. The main card, we start off with a good prediction. And I'm happy. I'm happy. If you watched my breakdown, you know I am talking about Dominic Reyes to be the dark horse of the light heavyweight division. So I need him to continuously keep doing what he is doing. Goes out there, first round, knocks out Nikita Krylov with a beautiful step back McGregor left hand right down the middle. Beautiful finish. Even finished it with the hammer fist the same way that McGregor did too. It is awesome to see Dom Reyes get these wins. It's crazy because just knowing what he could have been if the decision went his way against John Jones. And then right after that, you get this downfall, and now he's back up rising. I love it. Give him another good fight. Give him another tough competitor, because he is going out there and beating guys that are challengers. I mean, Nikita Krylov is no slouch, right? You just ain't seen him in a few years, but he's no slouch. But he went in there and he got pieced by Dom. Dom tagged him with the jab. Once he hit him with that jab and rocked him back, I'm like, oh, Dom's got this in the bag. Dom's got this one in the bag. And he did. So great win by Dominic Reyes. And like I said, I am rocking with him to be the dark horse. So I'm super happy with that one. But great win. So that, for the main card, opens our predictions up. We won for one. We won for one. So let's keep going. What was next? Next was the chaotic finish with Jean Silva submitting Bryce Mitchell. That was rough. That was rough. Bryce tried to fight a smart fight. Keep Jean Silva distant. He kept throwing those little side snapping kicks, kept throwing kicks to the body, just kind of pushing him off, keeping him distance. But the thing about it is, when you're doing that to a guy like Jean Silva, once he does figure out and close the distance, figures out the timing, he's going to start landing heavy shots because he's such a powerful guy. Those little shots that are keeping him back aren't bothering him. You have to hit something. You have to hit Jean Silva with something that is going to make him respect every aspect of your striking. And Bryce Mitchell doesn't really have that power. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have that threatening power in any way. So he really couldn't crack Jean Silva with anything that was getting his respect. So Jean kept pushing forward the whole time. And the thing that was bugging me the most about Bryce Mitchell is, obviously, when he was in trouble, he was going to the wrestling, which I expected. But man, oh man, for a guy who has such the skill of his wrestling skill set is fantastic. Like, you saw it against Edson Barbosa, you've seen it against other guys. He has a really good wrestling background. But I've never seen a man keep his just chin and neck wide open for any submission every time he shoots. Every single time he shoots, and doesn't make the change at all. He did it to Ilya and got subbed. He did it to Jean Silva 3 times when he shot, and Jean Silva got him 3 different times in threatening submissions and ended up finishing him with, I think it was what kind of choke was that? Ninja choke? Yep, it was a ninja choke. So yeah, Bryce got subbed pretty bad. I know there's a lot of people out there that's probably happy for it, rooting on the man's downfall and everything like that. You say some stupid shit on the outside and people are going to scold you, absolutely ridicule you. There is no coming back from anything you speak of on the outside. So you got to make sure you just smart with what you say, you know what you say. But overall, I don't think Bryce Mitchell is a terrible human being, and I don't think people should be rooting on his downfall. He took a tough loss last night against a very, very tough competitor. Who knows? Jean Silva could be a problem for the entire featherweight division, but took a tough loss against an extremely tough challenge. Don't rock him too much. We'll see what happens with Bryce Mitchell. But Jean Silva got the win, so we are 2 for 2. Going into Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Great fight. Great performance by Yair. And honestly, good performance on Patricio Pitbull's end. Even in the loss, right? He was losing the whole time. He was pretty much losing this entire fight. But there was moments where he almost got finished and he stayed alive. And I give him props for that, because he, you know, in that position, coming in as a champion from another promotion, you're coming into the UFC and you're not fighting, you know, somebody to really just give you a W. You're not fighting no tomato can. You get thrown in against a ranked guy like Yair Rodriguez, who's been in there with the whole division. You know, it's very, very tough. It's an extremely tough challenge. And you go in there and get finished by him, everybody's just going to say, exactly, you're not UFC caliber. But I could say Patricio Pitbull is UFC caliber. He just had an extremely tough fight, and Yair Rodriguez was locked in last night and was on point. He didn't have no crazy flashy striking. He was landing simple strikes, and he won anytime the exchanges went to the ground. Yair had a fantastic performance, and I was super impressed by it. And the only fight I want to see for Yair Rodriguez now is Diego Lopez. After the press conference before the fight, after the fact that Diego Lopez lost this weekend in a tough fight too. We'll get in that in a minute, but that was a very tough fight. Very good performance for him. You know, Yair and Diego Lopez will put on a magical show, and it'll be absolute fireworks. So make that happen. even if you don't make it a main event for some sort of fight night, you make that a 5-round co-main event. You don't make that a 3. You make that a 5-round co-main event, and you let these boys go to war because they will put on an absolute show. But Yair, fantastic performance, like an A+ performance in my opinion for the way that, for the style of fighter that he had to come out against. And then not only that, you're fighting a former champion from a different promotion. You really got to make a statement for the UFC on the UFC's end. So good work by Yair Rodriguez. But unfortunately, that takes us to 2-1 on the predictions. But you know me, like, it's not that I thought Yair was going to lose. I just thought I could see Patricio Pitbull coming in there and getting it done. But honestly, the size difference between the two threw me off a little bit. I didn't think Yair was going to be that much bigger in the octagon than Patricio Pitbull. And Pitbull just looked little in there. Pitbull almost looked like a bantamweight to me. But either way, 2-1 on the predictions. Good win by Yair Rodriguez. And we move on to the co-main event between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. This is another one I lost. I thought Michael Chandler might have gotten it done. But if you watched the breakdown, you knew I was real skeptical. I was real 50-50 on this one. I was not sure. I could not pick it properly. You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't decide. I ended up going with Michael Chandler, but at the same time, I saw many outcomes of where Paddy Pimblett could win. And guess what? The way he won was the last way I expected him to win this fight. He beat the brakes off of Mike. He beat Mike's ass. And I gotta be real with you, Mike Chandler did not show up. That's not the Michael Chandler that we've been watching. Even though Michael Chandler has gotten so many losses in the UFC, he puts on a performance. He finds a moment in the fight where he gets going, and he puts on a performance. He puts on a show. He wasn't throwing high volume last night. He wasn't bringing a heavy pace. He wasn't chucking up heavy shots. Nothing was threatening. And it just seemed like Paddy was really just controlling. He was really controlling. Like, every time Mike came in to try to close the distance, Paddy would catch him with a couple shots. Still, if you pay attention though, Paddy got the chin up, high up in the air, throwing every strike wide open. Someone is going to crack this man. It's only a matter of time. He is going to get slept by somebody in that division. It's only a matter of time. He's got to lock that striking down a little bit cleaner if he wants to avoid that. But otherwise, he did good. He had a good performance. Obviously, we know the ground game is a threat. He was beating Mike up on the ground. He was beating Mike up on the feet. Mike Chandler did not look like iron in that fight. Simple as that. Paddy Pimblett got it done, and that actually took us to 2-2 on the predictions, because I didn't think Paddy was going to do it. I thought Mike was going to chuck up a shot and just sleep him. I really did. Not that Paddy's like got no chin or anything like that. Just Paddy hasn't fought somebody that has that explosive power and that explosive style of Michael Chandler. So I really thought he was going to get tagged, but he didn't. He performed very well. If you look at him in the post fight, dude doesn't even look like he got in a fight. Mike Chandler looked like he'd been through hell. He got slashed up so bad that when Paddy hit him with one of the ground strikes, it literally splashed Henry Hoof in the whole corner of Michael Chandler with Michael Chandler's blood. So it was nasty. I mean, that knee that Paddy caught him up the middle with, cut him open, and that was a lot of blood for a short period of time. If that cut would have happened earlier in the fight, that fight probably would have got stopped within 2, because just how much blood was pouring from that cut. But Paddy Pimblett, man, what's next for Paddy is a good question. A lot of people are talking about, call out Conor McGregor. Is that next? Let's be real, Conor's never coming back. Conor ain't never coming back. I don't know why people even somewhat even come to think about it in any which way. That motherfucker is never coming back. Stop it. Give it up. Give it up. You can't trust anything with Conor McGregor when it comes to the fight game, because one minute you get your hopes up and next minute you're completely shown that he is not coming back. And you just have to sit back and realize that the man did what he needed to do in his career. He has no reason to come back. And guess what? It's not going to be Paddy Pimblett that pulls him out of the almost just like unofficial retirement. But Paddy Pimblett's not gonna pull him back into the UFC. No way. I don't think it's Paddy. It would have to be something more exciting than Paddy. Not that Paddy's not exciting. It's just, what's a win over Paddy? You know what I'm saying? Like a win over Michael Chandler would have been a little something different because they had the whole Ultimate Fighter build up. Conor and Paddy don't have too much. I don't know. Who knows what'll ever happen? It's the UFC, but my prediction is that McGregor never returns. Paddy Pimblett has got to just continue to rise up the ranks, focus on fighting guys that are a little bit younger now. I mean, his last 3 fights were all guys above the age of 35, so he's got to get to somebody around his age, somebody a little bit younger. Even if he goes with a Jalen Turner or a Matus or even a fucking Dan Hooker. Maybe that's the fight to make. Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker. Right? That could be a really good fight. I might play matchmaker on this one. I haven't done a matchmaker episode in a while. And this card leaves a lot of openings for some interesting matchups. We could see Paddy and Dan Hooker in the future. And guess what? Paddy better not keep that chin way up because Dan's going to be somebody that's going to continue to tag you as much as he can. So, could be a really good fight. A good performance by Paddy. So now we move on to the main event. Do you come from a land down under? And new, baby. Back again. 2-time UFC featherweight champion Alexander The Great Volkanovski. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. It honestly is awesome to see Volk come back. If there's anybody you really want to see on the winning side of things, it's Alexander Volkanovski. And if you watch the breakdown, all of the breakdowns, any breakdown that I did this weekend on this fight, you know that I was viewing this as something that Volkanovski cannot lose in a way that he has been losing the last 2 times. He had to go in there and get this win because if he loses, it buries him. Right? It buries him, puts him in a terrible position to try to climb back up. For Diego Lopez, he's all right. He's young. He got up to that position within 2 years of being in the UFC. I promise you, he'll be back again. Win, lose, or draw, it was not going to matter. Diego Lopez was going to end up, he will get this opportunity again. He's already fought top competition and showed that he can hang with top competition. And he went 5 rounds with Alexander Volkanovski. Even though Volk was on point, 62% of strikes landed, 61% of significant strikes landed. He shot 11 takedowns, only got 1. So good takedown defense by Diego Lopez. Diego did give him some problems. Diego even dropped him, gave everybody a scare again. Whew. Gave everybody a scare. Now I ain't gonna lie to you, I faded a little bit on this fight because I was fading after the Paddy fight. Because it's late, I was tired. But what I did catch was a good performance by Volkanovski. Volk was doing his thing. He was really doing his thing. But you got to give props to Diego Lopez because now I guarantee you from this point forward, the elevation and the skill set and the levels that Diego Lopez is going to bring to the UFC, the rest of the division is not going to be able to hang with him. I promise you, they're not going to be able to hang with him. I don't know who you give Diego Lopez to. Yes, I do. Yair Rodriguez. Wow, I'm stupid. I just talked about that. That is 100% who you give Diego Lopez to. You give him Yair Rodriguez. But who do you give Volk to? Everybody's saying Mosvar. It's not going to be a big selling fight or anything like that. But why not? Let's see it happen. I'll tell you what, Mosvar, he's not a bad fighter in any way. I don't think he cracks crazy hard. I mean, he can hit, but he don't crack crazy hard. So I think Volk will be fine in that realm. And if you watch Volk versus Islam, you shouldn't have no worry about Volk on the ground with that. So how awesome would it be for Alexander Volkanovski not only to become a 2-time UFC featherweight champion, but to be a 2-time UFC featherweight champion and defend the belt again? That would be amazing. A lot of people believe Alex should just retire on top, and I like the idea of it, but why not defend it? Do it again, defend it again, and then retire. You know, Alex is one of those guys who just loves to be in a position to fight. You know what I'm saying? He likes being in the top of the game, and he is one of the most exciting fighters to watch in the sport. He's very fun, and he's hard to not get behind. Volk is one of those guys that you just, you kind of fade into and start having a lot of respect for, and you end up liking watching him fight, and you like watching the build-ups of his fights, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there watching a Cooking with Volk video with him and his stupid little bow. It just, that's how it is. That's how it is. But my boy is back on top. So congrats to Alexander Volkanovski. And like I said, Diego Lopez is going to be back. There's no doubt in my mind, right? His toughest opponent is going to be Yair Rodriguez, but the rest of the division is chalked when it comes to fighting Diego Lopez. He's going to bring problems to anybody. Anybody. And honestly, if that rematch happens with him and Volk after one fight, if he goes and beats Yair, right, and Volk beats Mosvar, and then you make this fight again, I think Diego Lopez wins the rematch. Personally, I just feel like, how far is Volk going to go at his age? And two, Diego already dropped him in this fight. He just has to sharpen up a few things. Sharpen up a few things, and he can get it done. People trying to call him a hype train derailed. Get out of here. Get out of here. You are tripping. Absolutely tripping. That man is not a hype train. That man is there's nothing derailed. He is an absolute dog, and he needs the respect. It's simple as that. Simple as that. But we back in the world where Alex Volkanovski is champion again. 2-time UFC featherweight champion. It's awesome. It's awesome. I appreciate you guys for watching this episode. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me this weekend with the Volk breakdown, the Diego Lopez breakdown, and the UFC 314 breakdown. We're going to continue to put out content. That's just what we're doing. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out. Peace.